नित्यानन्देश्वर सदाशिवसमारम्भां नित्यानन्देश्वरि आदिशक्तिमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, Sarvanyapita Yajamans, Nitya Satsangis, Sri Mahans, Mahans, Tanedar Kotari, everyone, visitors, viewers, everyone sitting with us through Nithyananda TV, Facebook Live, hundreds of Adinavasis channel, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and two-way video conferencing, having Nayana Diksha. Cities sitting with us, long list. So I welcome all of you with my love and respects. I'll continue on Adinam Chalo series. I'll expand on some more basic principles I was explaining in last few satsangs. Integrity, only when it is converted into responsibility of enriching, is kept alive and taken to the next level. If you are integrated to morning sleep, only if you teach everyone, please sleep till 10 o'clock, you will be able to maintain your integrity. And you create a sleepers club. And you encourage people to take either legal drug or illegal drug and sleep whole day, morning, day, night, whatever, whenever. You don't have the work of eating, you can continue to be sleeping. Only if you make a theology out of constantly being bored, tired and chronic fatigue, and make it as a philosophy, from theology evolves philosophy, from philosophy evolves religion. If you make that as a sleeping religion, only then you can continue to be integrated to it. Otherwise, somebody may suddenly come and tell you, hey, morning doing yoga is good for your health. And you may change your attitude. And you may give up on the great religion on which you built your whole life. Morning sleep. What will happen? Understand, anything to which you are integrated, only if you take the responsibility to enrich, it continues to exist, it continues to be alive. It takes you to the next level. Love. If you are integrated to the principle of love, experience of love, continue to enrich everyone. Take the responsibility to enrich everyone with that experience of love. You will attract more love. You will form that as fundamental experience of your existence. Anything, when you are integrated to it and take the responsibility to enrich, it expands and takes you to the next level. Love brings more love. Same way money. If you are integrated to the concept of money and you decide to enrich everyone, take the responsibility to enrich everyone with the concept of money, understand? I am revealing one of the important secret. You are given the concept of money, not money itself. You are given the concept of money, not money itself. You are constantly given the greed. If you have money, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this, you can have this. All that, finally, all the money which you can make in every possible way, good, bad, right, wrong, does that money get all the things you have been promised which you will get out of that money? No. Just see in your real life. The system is such, you are given only concept of money, not money itself. You are given concept of wealth, not wealth itself. Because the things you need, things you have been promised, to get that the money required, you need to work for 6-7 births. Unfortunately, in the West, you have been taught you have only one birth. And at least if you are from the East, where these rebirth communities understand, if you cognize from the young age rebirth is possible, it is possible for you. Because when you leave the body, your cognition is very important to choose the doors opening in front of you. For example, if you are completely allergic to Hinduism, even if there is a huge Hindu temple in front of you, while you are traveling, driving or walking, and the doors are open, you will never enter into it because you are allergic to it. Same way, after death, all the possibilities will be open in front of you. Rebirth, just getting frozen in the fear and becoming a stone. Enlightenment, all the doors will be open in front of you. Which door you feel comfortably you will be able to live. Which door you think you will be able to handle comfortably, you enter into that. If you never believed from the birth that rebirth is possible, your inner space will never be prepared. So even though the door is open, you will not enter into it. You will not even think it exists. I tell you, sometime which you don't believe, like, you don't even cognize, forget about entering, you don't even cognize that exists. I have seen some people never cognize some buildings exist. No, it really happened in my own life. Good or bad, right or wrong, I never entered into the cinema theaters. Only once my pre-monastic relatives, they own a theater, so they dragged me into the theater. Of course, in few minutes I ran away and came out. Somehow that never gave me the feeling of entertainment. Never entered. The route in which I am going to the school and coming back to the home had a cinema theater. 10 years after that, when somebody told me about the cinema theater, please understand, 10 years after that, 10 years of going in that same route and coming, when somebody was speaking to me, I really could not cognize that building exists in that very road. Such vast, big building with huge entrance. I was shocked. Am I blind? Or am I lying? Am I doing something wrong? I can't imagine, because every small Ganesha in the street, outside home, I know the count in that road. Not that I noticed and did not cognize. First time I am even cognizing that building exists in that road. Understand? When I tell this, how many of you are able to click with some of your experiences in your life this? Yes? Same thing. If you are taught only one birth, no rebirth, when you leave the body and all the doors are open, you will not even cognize. Feel blessed if you are taught from the beginning, you have multiple births, you are rich. Understand? It is not that how many buildings are available matters, it is your ability to access matters. It is not that whether multiple births are available or one birth, only one birth and death. It is your ability to access. Understand? If you are a Hindu and you are taught from the beginning, you have multiple births, and constantly your inner space is cognizing that and functioning. Be very clear, you are rich. Listen, biggest wealth is time. What is biggest wealth? Time. Whatever you want to achieve in the planet Earth, whether you want to have $1 trillion, zillion dollar, or the political power, or anything, end of the day, time is the biggest wealth through which you can master, achieve anything you want. Time is available only if you are a Hindu. It is not that non-Hindus don't have access to the truth of birth and death. Unfortunately, because they are not prepared consciously, they do not even cognize the door. See, after death, you will go through this whole different planes. For example, when I used to travel in the train, in those days there was no Google map, so I'll keep the map, ordinary map, and see from where to where I am going, what rivers are coming, what temples are coming. So I'll keep myself awake to catch the glimpse of the temple tower or that river. Same way, after death, your soul will go through the journey of different planes to decide what to do. Only if you know through the zones and planes you are going to go through, you will keep yourself awake and alive. If you don't even know through which road, which way you are going to go, you will fall asleep. If you don't know multiple births and possibility exists, after death when you are taken for a tour, when your consciousness goes for experiencing to choose, when the tour is given, you will just freeze in depression, fear, anxiety, and collapse just into the unknown space. You will not even open your eyes and see. You will not even open your eyes and see. Listen. Being educated, taught, about the 11 dimensions of universe, 25 states of consciousness, even intellectually, when you are having few minutes with yourself, either when you are cleaning your teeth after food, or lying in the bed and not feeling like sleeping, or just loitering around, or you are taking shower. In all those moments when you are within you, if these cognitions continue to exist in you and you are grinding about this multiple births and deaths possibility, multiple dimensions of the universe possibility, understand all this is amazing preparation. When those doors open, you know how to cognize the door, and you know what is the principle, rules and regulations you need to play if you enter into the door. I never had interest to enter into theatre, so I never bothered about where to get the ticket, how to go and sit, what will be available where. Not only that, the extreme step, did not even look at that building, cognize that building exists. Understand? That is why I am saying one of the biggest droha done to humanity is this one birth concept is being spread. All doors are shut if you believe in one birth. Actually, your soul will be taken for a tour when you leave the body, for you to choose the next journey, the next part of the journey. So you will feel everything is too new. You were not even intellectually introduced. You were not allowed to see the trial. You have not been given any introduction. You don't know where you are going. You have not even seen, forget about photograph, even a portrait. And you will be just sitting and waiting to catch a glimpse of where is that hell and heaven, which I was taught in my book. And my book has told me that no rebirth, no birth. Only the two has been taught, hell and heaven. And as far as whatever I cognize myself, I am sure it is going to be only hell. And let me find out where it is. Other than the two door, you will not even see anything. I tell you, just for giving one small grain as a dana, you can reach heaven and be there forever. During all the danas, just you did not give once little glass of water for somebody, just for that one mistake you can reach hell and be there forever. Which one you choose to cherish continuously in you, that is going to decide where you are going to enter. If you decide, thousands of good things and bad things what I know, I have done to me, but what Sadashiva knows as the best thing, one thing, initiation, that he has done to me, will that one be higher, or my 1,000 good or bad will be higher? Yes, as a child you have a piggy bank, you collect 2,000 coin, and in that 25 coins have been stolen by somebody. In the 2,000 coin, some 200 coin you stole from your brother. Yes, all this goes on. End of the day, what is the net balance you have? And Sadashiva just gives one blank check, $1 billion, take it. With all your piggy bank game, what you may have remaining will be 249 rupee. Earned 2000, stolen 1800, I stole 240. All the accounts put together, it is only 3-4 digit game. And Sadashiva straight writes $1 billion check, keep it, next, what do you want? Understand, if you are cognizing your piggy bank game as your life, you will feel comfortable with that only after death also. If you are enjoying and celebrating, கண்டத்து மாலை காட்டி காலனுக்கு சவால் விடுவோன் கண்டங்காத்திட காலனை அழிப்பேன். நீதான் எவனா பார்த்துட்டல, தெரியல, ரெண்டாவது தடவை உதவ வேணுமா? தூக்கிட்டு போயிருவியா? பார்க்கலாமா? வாடா பார்க்கலாம், என்ன பண்ற பார்க்கலாம், வாடா. Understand, what you cherish when you are all by yourself matters. That is why do not learn the ideas of one birth. If they intellectually convince you, that is the worst crime done to you. End of the day, what you cherish throughout your life, you are going to be comfortable with it after you leave the body. If you cherish the truths of multiple life possibilities, Kailasa, you will be comfortable with those truths, and you know to choose those doors. You know how to behave in those spaces. The moment you know the doors of Kailasa, hey, right, you saw na, எங்கடா பூர்ணகம் எங்கடா? தோ வந்துட்டு சாமி, அகத்தியர் கொஞ்சம் குள்ளமா இருந்தாலும் ஓடியாறதுக்கு டைம் ஆயிருச்சு. Then you see Agastya, no, you don't have to rush so fast. You are welcoming, that's enough. You are allowing me inside, that's enough. You know how to behave because you have been introduced about all of them. Understand, the concepts you intellectually understand and cherish matters while you are in the body. Nothing is superstitious. Nothing is superstitious in Hindu tradition, in Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Poor are not those who don't have few pennies in this world. Poor are those who don't have understanding about the universe. I have seen in Indian small towns, if somebody has passport and they know how to travel, the fellow will behave big. Hey, Dubai, Dubai. நான் யார் தெரியுமா? துபாயிலேருந்து பேசுறேன். Fool. Just because you have exposure to few zones, few mandalas, few countries, you think you are big. We Hindus are introduced to the few dimensions. Understand, immediately do not get into the self-doubt. I only know intellectually and read, I have not experienced. Don't worry. Even if you have read intellectually and understood or internalized, that itself is a big, because when you go there, you will recognize it. You will recognize it. I will solve even this problem of I only read intellectually, not experienced in this Mahasadashivoham. If you are not even intellectually introduced, life is denied for you. Life is denied for you. Understand, the so-called atheists and rationalists are the most poor fellows I have seen on the planet Earth, because their whole game is piggy bank. 2,000 rupees I stole, 700 rupees I earned, somebody stole 1,800 rupees from me, and whole thing boils down to just 4-digit game. Your whole logic, and listen very carefully, your whole logic is 9-digit game, that's all. Understand, when I say 9-digit game, you cannot make a cohesive, coherent, continuous statement more than 9 times. Afterwards, your logic will not function. Make any statement building upon another, maximum 9 only you will be able to make. That is why the digit 9. Then you will be broken. You will be back either to 5 or 6 or 1 or 2 or somewhere. Listen carefully what I am talking. Cohesively furthering your understanding about everything is vidya. From unknown, listen very carefully. From unknown, if the energy moves to known, it is initiation. From the known, if you move to unknown, it is called vidya. From the unknown, if the energy moves to the known, initiation. From known, if you move to unknown, it is vidya, knowledge. Whatever you know logically, from that moving and knowing what you do not know is knowledge. In this, step by step, you can make only 9 statements cohesively, coherently. After that, your head will become hot. After that, you will not be able to proceed further. You will get back either to the logic of the 4th or 5th or 3rd or 1st or 8th or 7th. It will be broken, then again you have to start. That is the way human logic works. Human logic is too small component of your existence. It is like in the college, I have seen this, seniors will rag the juniors. They will say, hey, which department you are? Civil engineer, sir. You have to ask, you have to address them as sir. Sir, civil engineer, sir. You know surveying and measurement? Now only I am studying, sir. Bring the matchstick. Take this and measure this whole room. I've seen boys will do. With matchstick you have to measure the whole room. What will happen? That is the same stupidity these rationalists and atheists are doing. With this small logic, they are trying to measure the whole universe. And the senior atheist is ragging the junior atheist. Senior rationalist is ragging the junior rationalist. Yes, with matchstick you can measure the universe. When? When you have become like a matchstick and buried. Understand. Matchstick is not the tool to measure the planet Earth. Logic is not the tool to measure the life. Life is existence. Experience is the unit, tool to measure the life, not logic. Not logic. You cannot say, "Sir, give me 2-liter cloth." No. You can ask, "Give me 2-liter water. Give me 2-liter petrol." I never cognized in my lifetime water will be sold. I have seen humanity where drinking water was not sold. It was a resource available for all human beings. Now I am not able to utter that word. Even the middle class towns of India, water is not a common resource. Drinking water is not a common resource for human beings. Oh God, we are claiming we are becoming rich. We are claiming we are becoming developed. I have seen Thiruvannamalai, not only water, even food was the natural resource. I have seen in Thiruvannamalai comfortably, you don't need to work for the sake of your survival. Food, clothes, staying is assured for any person who is in Thiruvannamalai. I have seen that society. Somewhere in the city, constantly all these will be showered and shared. I can never imagine you are supposed to work for survival. And is this we call growth? You see, I don't encourage laziness. I am dead against laziness and boredom and tiredness and sleeping. I started the satsang with that very thought current. I don't encourage that. But I am dead against making somebody work for their survival. That is the hellish way of making somebody work. Maybe that is little better than the utter laziness and tiredness, but that is not the way to exist. Maybe an individual can be treated like that. How few criminals, hardcore criminals are put in prison. But a society's functional logic cannot be that. Unfortunately, the society's functional logic is becoming, you have to work even for your survival. I tell you. In any society, the functional logic is you have to work for your survival. Violence and stealing will be unavoidable. Because the fundamental logic of the society cannot be you have to work for your survival. You have to work for your luxury, but not for your survival. They should be taught to break the laziness. They should be constantly drilled to break the boredom pattern. But survival cannot be the instinct or the idea with which you push the people to work. Understand? If somebody is made to feel, if the whole society functions with that logic, that you have to work for your survival, stealing and violence will be unavoidable. At least I want in all our Sangha, I am making it very clear. In our Sangha, you have to work for your survival will not be a functional logic of the Sangha. Understand, the survival needs should be available anybody who decides to live in our campus. I am not encouraging laziness or tiredness or boredom pattern. That should be handled as a spiritual instruction, spiritual training. Yes, constantly we have to break the tiredness, we have to break the boredom, we have to break this chronic fatigue attitude, we have to break that withdrawal pattern through the spiritual strength. But you can't keep, you have to work for surviving as the fundamental logic. That cannot be the fundamental logic of the whole Sangha moving. No. That is himsa. That is not ahimsa. The fundamental logic is existence provides everything as a natural resource for all of us, anything needed for survival. Understand? Anything needed for our survival, existence provides. For your luxury, you need to work. For your luxury, you need to work. That's different. For your luxury, you need to take the responsibility. But the moment you decide to breathe, anything required to keep you alive is provided by the existence. That is the logic with which existence is functioning. The fundamental existence logic is anything needed for survival is provided without any condition. If the air, prana is needed for your breathing, if the food is needed for your rejuvenation, if the water is needed for your hydration, all the fundamental survival things. If shelter is needed to keep you warm, if the clothes are needed to keep you protected from the weather changes, rutu changes, all that is naturally available for everyone. This is the fundamental logic with which existence is functioning. So, I give this as my command to the Nithyananda Sangha. This should be the fundamental logic with which Sangha should function. People should not be allowed to fall into tiredness, boredom, life negative, chronic fatigue patterns through the spiritual understanding and inspiration and completion and all the spiritual methods. But nobody should be threatened for their survival needs. I know the society is going so fast. I will not be surprised if the air is going to be rationed. Pure air will be rationed. Only if you are going to work for some corporate companies, it will be available for you. I will not be surprised if this happens in the next few decades or even few years. Who knows? The speed with which they are polluting the air. I have a strong doubt. the speed with which water pollution happened in last 30 years, unnatural speed. Unnatural speed. Almost like half of the country's resources have been put only for pollution and destruction. It is not that by polluting the rivers, you create a products which are being used, you pollute the rivers and create the tire and plastic and all that, which is again used to pollute the ocean. Listen. Introduction to the multi-dimensions of the universe. Initiation into the energies to have access to it. And ability to handle the rules and regulations is the biggest wealth you can acquire while you are in the planet Earth, and best place to acquire that wealth is Adinam. Best place to acquire all this wealth is at the feet of Sadashiva in Kailasa. When I uttered the word Adinam, I mean the space where all these are taught. If that space stays on a place, that place is called Adinam. The place where Anadi operates is Adinam. Where Anadi Saiva stays and operates and makes Adi Saivas is Adinam. Understand? It is so unfortunate the modern day Hindu youth takes all the great truths of the Hinduism for granted. What is there? Multiple birth? Yes, my grandmother used to tell, if I do good, I'll take birth next Janma properly. If I do bad, I'll come back and suffer. That is why I killed that cat in my house. I think this cat has killed me in last Janma. Now I am taking revenge and completing the karma of the cat. Now one fellow was given the logic. Yes, what you told is right. If I kill this fellow, I'll come back and he will kill me. So I think he killed me last time. That is why I am feeling like killing him this time. The karma, reincarnation, all these theories, even if you are introduced, feel blessed. You know the methods of passport, visa and traveling to multi-dimensions of the universe. These fools are celebrating and proud and egoistic about the bunch of the passport. Be proud of the bunch of the travel documents for the universe, Kantamala and Atmalinga, Yangyobhavita. Be proud about all this. Bunch of passports is a travel document for different countries. All this Tirumulavarka Vedam is the travel document for multiple dimensions of the universe. modern day Hindu youth takes it for granted all these great principles and they do not understand. Destruction of the airports does not mean the other countries do not exist. Suddenly some problem, airports got destroyed and the transportation to other countries stopped, so you start believing the other countries don't exist. Same way, suddenly change in human conscious level and the travel to other dimensions as reduced. I don't want to say stopped, reduced. So you just want to declare the other dimensions don't exist. எல்லாமே மனுஷங்களே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நாங்கள் எதுக்குடா இருக்கிறோம்? Multiple dimensions of the universe exist. Even intellectual introduction to it is great. You will not be culturally shocked when you are going through those zones and spaces. Actually, I tell you, this whole Shaivite Tirumulavarka Vedam is precisely followed in Kailasa. Why you are asked to wear all that here, getting comfortable. So when you go there, you will not have a cultural shock. You don't have to change from jeans to Yogavalladu. Understand? It is to give a smooth transition. All the principles from there are brought and introduced and you are practicing. You won't even feel cultural shock. You will only feel, hi, yesterday I came, how are you? From where? No, zone 3, the Bhuloka Kailasa, Biddi. From there, it will only be the zonal transfer. Now zone 11. What is the food you eat here? Same, no problem, same menu only. Come on, go to the kitchen. Maybe you were earlier Annadatta who was there. Before you, that batch Annadatta is only sitting here now as Annadatta. You will just meet your seniors there, that's all. Few years senior or few yugas senior, that's all. Your seniors. There will not be any cultural shock. Understand? Even this Tirumulavarka Vedam, Shivavarka Vedam is not something that we are trying to be different. We are trying to prepare to the space where we are going to be permanently residing eternally, to have a smooth transition without having cultural shock, without having to suffer anything, without having to go through any transition, and you will not feel homesick. Understand? In the Bhuloka, cunningness is the best strategy to be successful, whether you want that wealth or power or whatever. In the Kailasa, integrity is the best strategy. Practice integrity so you will not have cultural shock when you go there. Practice integrity, you will not have a cultural shock when the transition happens. Whether internal or external practices provided to you in Adinam are the direct manual followed in Kailasa. It is just preparation for beautiful transition into eternal space. understand life in the planet Earth itself is for only this purpose. Contemplate on this. Wealthy are those who have enough time for them. Wealthy are those who have enough time for them, is the essence of today's satsang. Contemplate on this. Poor are those who try to measure life with the logic, trying to measure planet Earth with matchstick. With this, I bless you all. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhatvaita Saivam, Sada Shivoham, the eternal bliss, Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.
Now, I've introduced three things. Length of this walking stick. This is length. This is breadth. And this is depth. In us, the logic which moves and makes conclusions is length. Breadth which influences the matter means the cognition influencing the matter, spirit influencing the matter, your activism or involvement influencing the matter, logic, that zone is called breadth. Like art, poetry, music, sculpting, where your spirit influences matter. There is a part of you, independent of length and breadth, matter and emotion, can create an experience. Like I gave you the example, you may be sleeping on a beautiful king-size bed and air-conditioned room, completely secured by the whole army around you, but you may be dreaming, experiencing a tiger chasing you, sometimes stray dog chasing you in the forest. Independent of everything external, the cognition you generate, the ability to generate cognitions is depth. Listen. Logic, which always concludes, is length in you. Your art, emotion, heart, which you can influence, that is breadth in you. The cognition, which is independent of all these, can create, generate experiences, cognitions, that is depth in you. Same way in the universe. All the forces submit themselves to a logical flow. The whole physics is length of the universe. All the artistic, where the consciousness influences the matter. For example, I give you a boon. You ask for healing or money, something, and I give a boon. Consciousness influencing the matter and altering. All those things are artistic, breadth dimension of the universe. Vishwamitra creating independent, complete new plane of existence for Trishangu is the depth of the universe. Now in this LBD, let's have question answer. You ask whatever you want to ask about the LBD. Then I will talk about the time and space.
So Swamiji, does it mean that dream is the depth?
I should say, dream is depth, but it does not mean always the depth should be right. Wrong depth.
Okay.
You see, here when I say depth, your power to manifest.
Yes.
It can be good or bad, right or wrong. Sometimes somebody may be in the platform, but he can manifest the experience is the palace.
So Turyatit is depth.
I should say, Turyatita itself is the source where the depth is manifested. From Turyatita, you never manifest bad depth. You only manifest conscious depth. For example, a $1 billion rich guy will never go to a shop and steal $10 and get imprisoned.
Right.
The material which is in Turyatita as a depth. But sometimes people do use that to make a cheap things like ordinary dreams.
Right.
Actually, your ability to make a dream and your ability to make a heaven is one and the same. When you have a low self-identity, you create some ordinary dream where you have a small bungalow and the actor or actresses whom you want and all that. When you have a higher identity, you create Ramba, Menaka, Urvasi and Swarga. Otherwise, the stuff is one and the same. Many questions will fall in place when I merge all these three, this length, breadth, depth, this 11 dimension, 25 states of consciousness, 5 aspects of Sadashiva. When I merge all these three, tons of questions will become clear. You just know the whole, how things happen. For example, when you are having 5 ideas about you, somebody has 5 ideas about them, and their depth, if it becomes active, it creates a low dream. Whatever they know as a best, they try to have that. When that identity is 100 ideas, then he tries to create little better dream. When that identity is 1000, then he creates heaven. Trishang, the energy Vishwamitra used and created a Swarga for Trishangu is the same energy with which we also build a home for our worker and give. Nothing more than that.
So Swamiji, if someone is in the depth, then is person A depth? How does it relate to other people, or is it just private reality? Does it really affect other people?
What I am saying, as long as you have control only over you, your depth influences only you.
Okay.
When you master your whole biomemory and muscle memory, and even push that energy through your biomemory, muscle memory out, even the universe's depth listens to you.
So how was Vishwamitra able to manifest?
Because Vishwamitra's tapas, he has mastered himself and the nature around him. He can manifest anything he wants, not only for himself, even for others. It's just like giving a boon. It is the mastery of tapas. So when you have mastered your depth, you can also master the depth of somebody and create a different reality for them. Means which I am doing in Kalpadar Darshans and all when I give a boon.
Swamiji, can you give one more real life example of length, depth and the breadth?
Which way? As object or as a being or as a universe?
As being.
You logically think, calculate. If you work this many hours, this is the salary you will get. It's a logic. That's a length. How to get the salary without working is breadth. And how to take vacation and give a medical certificate and give the salary get the salary is depth.
So one view of ourselves is body, mind, and intellect. Will that fit into just the length, or does it traverse?
No. Body, mind, and intellect are actually one and the same. I should say intellect, emotion, being. These three can fit into length, breadth, depth. I should say it's a rough equation.
So depth is being, and breadth is
Emotion.
And length is
Logic. Intellect. Not intelligence, just intellect.
Thank you.
The difference between intellect and intelligence is that one scientist trying to make 2 holes in the door for cat and kitten. As per logic is right. As per the intelligence is wrong.
This, the length, breadth and depth of a being is defined by the Panchakritya of Sadashiva. So, where is the question of ability that the Jiva has?
Now please understand. You see, it is like you have been given 30-meter rope. You have the freedom to keep 3 meters as length, 5 meters as depth, remaining as a depth. Or all 30 as a length and cry that I don't have a breadth and depth. That freedom is with you. 30-meter rope is given. You can decide whether I want to spend more of my energy only in length, intellect, or only in the breadth, emotion, or only in the depth, being. The more amount goes to being, more alive you will be.
Okay.
If somebody rolls all 30 meters into being, he will be independent of anything of the external world. He will be the king. He will live like a god.
Okay.
Means, even his logic will be the expression of being. Depth. His breadth will be the expression of depth.
Okay.
See, unclutching, completion, all that is nothing but rolling more of you into depth. The length given is by Sadashiva. Decision to share is by you.
Suppose the being doesn't know how much to allot where, because again that is coming under the Panchakritya, whether it's more of delusion, whether the being is deluded, in which part the being is resting.
The moment you feel the suffocation, delusion loses power over you. 24 hours you have the freedom to be logically thinking constantly or emotionally influencing your life and living in breath, or spending more and more time to be sitting in your being, strengthening the depth. You do have freedom. Surely you have a freedom to play within that few meter rope you have. For example, that few hours you have, you do have freedom.
Okay.
That few hours, how you spend, you strengthen that dimension of you.
Okay.
That decides, are you going to have more freedom or not? When a child is given a knife and the child is very brilliant and it is nicely cooking, doing only the right job, he will be given a bigger knife. If the child is by mistake, knowingly or unknowingly cutting his finger or hurting himself, the knife will be taken away from the child. So, all of us surely are endowed with certain freedom. How we play with that freedom, are we using that freedom to hurt others and hurt ourselves? Then it is curtailed.
Okay.
If we are using that freedom to free us and free others, then it is expanded.
Okay. So is that called free will?
That is called free will.
Okay.
And surely we are all given enough free will to manage our life.
Okay.
And one more thing, whenever suffocation is felt by you, Sadashiva is Karunya Murti. The moment you feel the suffocation, liberation starts in you.
Okay.
It is like a gold touching the mercury. The moment gold and mercury comes in contact, gold starts melting. Same way, the moment you feel the suffocation, it starts melting. And sometime we ourselves ask Sadashiva this as a boon. I may not be able to handle myself pushing me towards liberation. You better appear in the form of suffocation to me and go on pushing me towards liberation. Why Tirunavukar got the stomach pain? He actually asked Sadashiva, till you fill my heart, let my stomach torture me. So that is the way he got that disease. He feels in the world I may forget the whole purpose. So better you be available in the form of this suffocation. So till I become completely enlightened, you be driving me from the stomach.
Oh my God.
Sometimes even we ourselves make this happen.
And we will not be aware of this at all.
I tell you, there is something called soft sufferings. Soft suffering means actually without any problem you will be suffering. Those soft sufferings are usually boons. You take it and come down.
Okay.
For example, actually somebody is handicapped. Actually somebody is in the poverty. Actually somebody is like a mad or that and all is actual karma. But there is something called soft suffering. Actually there is no reason, but you will be going on suffering. It's called soft suffering, which is boon. It's like a for alarm clock, you give the key, and this is the key you give.
Okay.
So you yourself decide, I have to become enlightened within this birth. So my acceleration speed is not enough.
Okay.
Devi, please accelerate me.
Oh.
Whatever it may take, I am ready for that. Whenever you give that kind of a commitment, she gives soft suffering.
Okay.
She will never give you hard suffering. Hard suffering comes by karma.
Okay.
Soft suffering comes by boon.
Oh.
All soft suffering is come only as a boon.
Swamiji, just before with the length, breadth and depth, just by having the depth, can we create even the matter? Just by
See what I
having
am saying, listen. If you are just a sandalwood tree, naturally you will have a smell. So if you become fully depth, for example, 30-meter rope is given, all 30 you wind up and become a depth, your smell itself will be length and breadth. Your presence will be breadth and length. I am telling you, no way I can be so logical from my background. I am a high school dropout. No, as per the international standard, I am a high school dropout. I never went to university. I created university, that's all. No, I am telling you practical. Never went to any university. Never know any protocols of the university. So, from logic, if you see, I cannot have this logic. It's my depth, and the smell of the depth is logic. So each of this session is one PhD thesis. And surely, I am not exposed to any of these physics, quantum physics books and these, that, to catch the essence and chew and spit it out. See the morning satsang. Whether it is a quantum physics, chemistry or alchemy, everything just gets chewed and gets. So no way, logically it is possible. No way logically it is possible. Depth, if you wind the whole thing into depth, I tell you, bluntly if I have to put it, completion makes even your logic extremely beautiful, extremely sharp. And anything you see, you just behave like a grinder and grind and spit it out. For example, first time when I sat in the flight, I just looked and I know the whole circuit, how it is working. I know it looks like a too big claim, but what would I have to tell you? With all my integrity, I am telling you. First time when I sat in the flight, maybe I think it is 2002 or only at that time. When I sat in the flight, I just looked around. I just know the whole circuit, how it works. Not by any logic. Always try to entertain yourself with your depth, means completion. Unclutching, completion, all these are beautiful entertainments. Spend a lot of time on unclutching, you will have amazing business strategies. Amazing business strategies. Amazing negotiation words. You will just know where that guy is sitting. You will just know where you need to relate to him. Depth matters.
This is the question regarding the teleportation. So this involves the matter and spirit. So would it be treated as a breath? Or
All teleportation comes under breath. All materialization comes under depth.
Okay, thank you, Swamiji.
Yes.
I have a question about nature. Nature, the environmental systems, the natural systems. So are they the breath? They function within the breath because they have their own intelligence of how they interact and work.
I should say, plants and all of them work only in the language of length. Their involvement and the things does not matter much. But the animals and all work in the line of breath. Their involvement matters. Only human being can handle depth. See, animals do not have the power to manifest something completely independent of length and breadth. For example, your dog can dream only what he has seen with a little alteration. But you can dream which you have never seen, completely independent of all your perceptions and the perceived informations.
The relationship between the verbalization and visualization and the source of that, now that's in the unclutching and silence. Now, that is also related to, well, you access the God particle and the I. But now, is that related to source of depth too, or please can you explain that?
Actually, this can be related. Understand this way. Intense carbon. When the intensity increases, suddenly it gets a breakthrough of Swayam Prakasa, self-effulgent.
Okay.
It becomes diamond. Carbon by itself has no trace quality of self-effulgent.
Yes.
But when it becomes intense, it gets into the zone of self-effulgent. So your depth, by your length, breadth, depth, you have no possibility of enlightenment. But the depth, intense, it suddenly develops the quality of self-effulgent.
Wow.
It's ready for radiating Sadashiva.
Wow, that's amazing. But now,
That breakthrough
yes,
point is Satori.
wow. Another thing just hit me now. But then we also use sound and light in like Shivoham process or mantra.
Initial
That-
level, as I said, initially I have to silence your length and breath. Your length and breath is too much running around.
Okay.
And if I ask you to control, you will create another one mess.
Yeah.
That's why I say use it, I will control.
Yes. Okay, so the sound and light can only control length and
No, no,
breadth,
no.
but the
See, listen. Sound and light I consciously generate
yes,
nullifies your unconscious sound and light.
yes.
The depth I consciously generate, Kundalini Shakti, nullifies your unconscious depth.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
See, your dreaming is bulldozed and filled by the Kundalini I am awakening. Depth can be bad and good. The bad depth is the wild, the worst nightmare.
Yes.
Good depth is the Kundalini awakening. Kundalini awakening is the antidote for nightmare.
Okay, thank you so much.
The will of a human being, where would it fall? In the depth?
It will fall in the depth only.
Okay.
It's a depth and will is actually proportionate.
Thank you.
Swamiji, so the component of listening, is it operating, it seems like it's operating in all three levels.
No, listen. 30-meter rope is given. You have 20 meter as length, 5 meter as breadth, 5 meter as depth. But you start rolling all the 30 into depth. That process is called listening.
Oh wow, thank you.
Swamiji Satya Jata.
Swamiji, I have one more question. I've noticed many times when I'm waking up in the morning, I'm awake, but my body is dead as a stone. It's not moving.
That is more of a breadth, not depth.
Okay.
It is like a part of your imagination is not ready to settle with your body.
Swamiji, it looks like that there is some correlation between the different states, what we have, like Turiya Atita, and the depth.
No. In every state, all these three are active in a smaller or higher level. For example, in the lower 9 states, more length, less breadth, and almost no depth.
Okay.
Higher states, more depth, very less breadth, and almost no length. Now, with all my integrity, I am telling you, I do not have any words inside. The words I uttered gave a break, no word inside at that time. Now I did not have word inside.
Yes.
Only for uttering it gets generated and gets uttered. Then back.
So it's a combination of a state and your depth, Swamiji?
State alters the length, breadth, depth division of you.
So
State alters the length of the length and breadth of the breadth and depth of the depth.
depth. Yeah. So at a being level, we keep on floating basis our state into different dimensions.
I should say, states influence dimensions, dimensions influence state. If you sit and unclutch before falling asleep, you will not have the nightmare.
Yeah.
If you have a nightmare, morning you will not be able to do unclutching. If you have a Kundalini awakening, you will not have nightmare. If you have a nightmare, then awakening your Kundalini will be a little difficult. So all of them are interconnected.
interconnected. So at Sadashivam, what we are experiencing is
I
the
am
enriching
working
of
on the
depth.
unit of you. See, unit of you is, you feel I exist. That I. That's a unit of Jiva.
Yes.
Unit of dimensions is a space which I am going to give you the experience. Unit of Sadashiva is Shakti, which I am already working on you and feeding you into which. Understand? More and more Shakti is fed in your mouth, more and more you will feel Sadashivatva. Like if you eat, whatever you eat, that only you will belch.
True.
So if you are fed Sadashivatva, you will belch Sadashivatva. That's it.
Swamiji,
Unit of Sadashiva is Shakti. I think all of you are clear about these three units. Unit of Jiva is I. Unit of dimensions of the universe is space. Unit of Sadashiva is Shakti. So I am working with, actually all these three are one and the same. Shakti, space, I is one and the same. So awakening them and filling you with that Advaita is the whole Sadashivam process. Actually, I am giving you some experience, then spending little time giving you logical understanding. Because of the strength of the experience, you understand it deeply. Because of the understanding's depth, you get into deeper experience. So this virtuous circle, because the experience has started, the virtuous circle is running. If the experience is not there, no listening, no experience, it will be vicious circle. Teachers put you in vicious circle, masters put you in virtuous circle. Yes.
Swamiji, for the depth, you had used three expressions, I think: cognition, consciousness, and being. So
all three different words pointing towards the same experience.
So, but cognition can be good and bad both.
Being also can be good and bad. Depth can be good and bad.
Okay.
The same, when you have a nightmare, you are going through the depth only. It's not that depth is good. Depth can be good.
So for making it good, the cognition needs to move to
consciously, if you build depth, it will be good.
Okay.
Unconsciously built depth will only be nightmare.
For a happening of any event, is there any way to know the origin of that event, whether it is from depth or breadth or from length?
See, never take a decision when you have a mood swing or depression. Because many times you will permanently damage yourself because you are temporarily upset. After happening, even if you know you have taken the decision when you are in the length, it has no use. Anything, whether the outcome is good or bad, strengthens you is from depth. Anything, whether the outcome is good or bad, makes you shallow, is length. Even the nightmare wakes you up, finally. Yes, bad depth, but wakes you up.
I wanted to ask whether depth is inbuilt in human beings or not, or we have to build it, like...
You are given freedom. I will not say it is inbuilt. The possibility is there, but you should consciously build. Because many times when you don't build, You just die without even experiencing or tasting depth.
Okay. And one more question.
I can say integrity is also one of a powerful way to build depth.
Can you
Integrity is always the tipping point in your life. That's a tipping point, and I tell you, integrity also makes you enjoy life very deeply. For an integrated person, this coffee will taste 1,000 times more than an ordinary person who is superficial. Same coffee, 2 cups. For one it will be coffee, for another one it will be nectar.
And
Integrity matters, increasing the depth of being and experience.
and Swamiji, where do we put aggression and mood swings in? Is it breath or logic?
It is more length.
Length.
Usually, length damages, breadth heals, depth makes it irrelevant. When you are doing a poetry, art, dance, music, it heals. Logic hurts, emotion heals, depth makes it redundant, irrelevant.
But you talked about 3 levels, like the one which you gave the Trishul example and being example and universe. So is it that we are being better and better, like going up?
I have given you understanding. For understanding, I use these examples.
And can you explain depth in the universe level?
Vishwamitra creating Trishangu Swarga.
I don't know that.
Vishwamitra created a new heaven for Trishangu. If you are deeper enough within you, you can not only handle you, control you, you can even control things outside you. You can create your body temperature, change the body temperature and make the rain happen.
When we are not aware about this, and then what's our state?
Which? About which?
About the dimensions. What is our state?
When you are not even intellectually introduced and you are not opened your eyes for it. Like how a born blind man, difference between born blind and the fellow with eyes. Ignorance is suffering. Not being introduced to the unit of you, unit of universe, unit of God is torture. Being introduced to the unit of you, unit of God, unit of universe is a mandatory basic requirement. It is a owner's manual for a body. Along with every body, the owner's manual should come. See, it's like a saying, oh, if I have not introduced the owner's manual to my car, what will happen? What will happen? Anything can happen. A Gurukul, the first job of the Gurukul is introducing to every being unit of you, unit of universe, unit of Sadashiva. That's the first lesson. And then making them understand life from the unit. See, if you have to teach physics to the kids, you naturally teach unit of length, millimeter, centimeter. Same way, how you teach units of everything. Liter means unit of liquids. 1 milliliter, 2 milliliter. Like how you teach units. You need to teach the unit of being, unit of universe and unit of Sadashiva to every being. Not doing is the crime against humanity. Education is an education only if you are educating the units of life. These 3 are units of life.
Pranam Swamiji. Swamiji, I want to understand this depth dimension, the equivalent of this from the modern physics point of view. My understanding might be very limited, but I think, see, for example, what these guys are telling us now is that when we observe certain phenomena, we change the result.
See, they only gone up to the breadth of the physics.
Breadth.
See, length of the physics is A plus B is C, 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, this whole observer changes the result is only a breadth of the physics. Still the fools have not gone to the depth of the physics.
Understood, Swamiji.
Understand?
Yes, Swamiji.
Now I can move my hand and move the sun is the depth of the physics.
Understood, Swamiji. All these mystical powers, all this is completely...
See, I can move my hand here and move the sun there. Is the depth of the physics. Very difficult for the physics to grasp. Even the breadth of the physics they are catching only after so many hundreds of years.
Yes, Swamiji.
Understand? You see, length of the physics is Newton. Breadth of the physics is observer influences the observed. The depth of the physics will be quantum. Not this guys, the quantum word they are using. In this, the quantum word they are using, they are trying to show more an agnostic, atheist way of, this is the way the parallel universe exists, but they are not saying our will has a powerful role to play with the parallel universe. See, the moment you say there is certain will which plays, then the independent intelligence operating the whole mechanism need to be accepted, which is Sadashiva, which they don't want. That is why they are trying to keep the depth of the physics as agnostic as possible due to their unscientific stupidity.
Understood, Swami.
See, what is unscientific? Not exploring because of your vested interests. Agnosticism, removed from quantum physics, will make the scientist a genuine seeker, will lead them to enlightenment.
Understood, Swamiji. Thank you, Swamiji.
Anybody who has studied little quantum physics?
Swamiji.
You can, of course, there I know so many, Rajesh, it's agnosticism. Not letting the quantum physicists do the real scientific depth because of their vested interest of not letting the independent intelligence possibility of existence. They go on denying, not looking at that direction, that parallel universe as a possibility of the will's existence of manipulation and manifestation. The difference between the agnostics and the Agama. Agama is very clear. The depth of the physics as an independent intelligence playing the creation, maintenance, destruction, delusion, liberation part. And understand, I am manifesting powers to establish theism of the quantum physics. The theistic quantum physicist is my Balasans. If I have to define my Balasans, theistic quantum physicist. Actually, I told some of my Balasans, hey, don't write 12th examination. I'll make big universities, give you honorary doctorate. When they bring it, tell them put it at the feet and go. Don't touch by hand. It's dirty. See, this world needs to know when the depth is awakened, the education is different. Actually, I am going through the fluttering period of my Gurukul. Means I am at crossroads. That is why I have to justify my Gurukul so much, and in few years, you will see 10 times longer queue. This middle class Indian parents will be standing here, like how they stand outside the US embassy for visa, for my Gurukul administration, for my Gurukul admission. Now I am going through the crossroads where I am yet to establish, see, I have established certain things, but I have not completely established the utility value of this in the regular life. Once I establish that, then these middle class Indian parents will be standing here in queue up to Bangalore. People will ask, what queue is standing? No, Biddi Nithyananda Gurukul admission opened, so we are all standing for application. See, when the physics is looked at from the angle of depth, with the integrity to the scientific seeking, Atado Brahma Jignasat, let us inquire into the reality for the sake of reality. When that starts with the depth, the being produced is called theistic quantum physicist, my Balasans, who will wave the hands and move the planet's effects and will always be bound down in front of deity. Who can wave the hands and materialize what you want. Who will always bow down and bend in front of a deity. Theistic quantum physicist.
And even Swamiji, simple things like how they project the world to us. How they teach us about the world to us, it is like random chaos. The auspiciousness, they are not able to present.
I tell you, agnosticism will always end up in chaos because any order introduced needs justification. See, any order introduced always points towards the independent will's existence.
Yes, Swamiji.
Understand? So if the order is introduced, will be justified.
Yes, Swamiji. That is why
the moment will is justified, Sadashiva is justified.
Yes, Swamiji.
See, what is the definition of Sadashiva? An independent intelligence which has power over everything exists. That these guys cannot, not only does not accept, do not want to explore in the direction which may confirm even indirectly. They are so frightened,
yes, Swamiji,
that they do not want to look even into the direction.
Yes.
Theistic people denying the possibility of quantum physics denying the possibility of theism. Whole power structure. The power corridors trying to decide the reality of the existence instead of the rishis and seekers. Power corridors can decide who will rule, but rishis decide who rules. Rishis decide who rules, power corridors decides who will rule.
Swamiji, what is the role of feeling connection and Guru Bhakti?
See, understand. With anything you feel connected, love. Your biomemory starts meditating on it constantly and it becomes that. For example, a egg from chicken is taught to meditate on snake. Snake will come out of the egg. See, Prahlada came out of Hiranyakashipu. Now, with the feeling connection, falling in love, or I should say raising in love with the Guru, the unknown parts of you, which is 99.99, is all the time sitting with me, or I am sitting on it and hatching it. All the parts of you which is in love with me, I am hatching it. All the parts of you which is in love with you, you are hating it. That part gets just hatched and you become me. So feeling connection or Guru Bhakti is like a quantum way of manifesting Sadashivatva. It is not logical or breadth, it's a depth way of manifesting Sadashivatva. See my Balasans, not just manifesting powers, talk to them, every statement, their body language, everything will be literally mine. How many of you have observed that? It's like my DNA. That is because of the raising in love. So raising in love or feeling connection is kind of a, see, inch by inch, burning all the karmas, or just put the forest fire. Feeling connection is just put the forest fire. See, yesterday I was telling that if I have to sit and convince you step by step, yes, we will do it. When? I'll only be your retirement entertainment story. When you are retired, you will call all your grandkids, great grandkids, or the neighbor kids and tell a story in those days, long, long ago. Once upon a time, get little coffee, and then you will continue the story. If I have to be sitting and convincing, I can convince. I am ready. I can sit and go on be giving satsangs. But I will only be your old age retirement story. But if you catch it, he has already established the authenticity of the system day one. He has established his adhikaratva to teach. Now after this, asking him to show the ID card every time is waste of time. Understand? Now it is waste of time. It is time to jump over, fall head over heels and go with it and make it happen. When you decide to fast track your Sadashivatva, that's what I call feeling connection. See, nothing wrong initially waiting for logical, convincing conclusion. But when you know already, I have established and demonstrated successful cases from your background. If I do, you will push me out. You are different. Okay. So I am not doing. I am picking up people from you. They have done the demo. So I have established the authenticity of the system. Then it is time to go head over heels, all over, and make it happen. Deciding to go head over heels and fast track your Sadashivatva, manifestation of Sadashivatva, is what I call feeling connection or Guru Bhakti. See, ultimately I am telling you, your Guru Bhakti, I am asking not for me to enjoy. I will just turn it and make it as Atma Bhakti and give it back to you. When you complete with GDHD, I will complete with your SDHD. That's all. I'll just turn the energy, make it into your Atma Bhakti. It's like a cub bringing fresh grass for lion. Is he going to have a lunch or dinner with that grass? He may act in front of the cub, not to disappoint the cub. See, I'm eating, and he will turn this side and maybe he will keep it there for the next cubs to come and have lunch. 1 or 2 meals they need to have before they realize they are lion. That's all. Understand? Somebody asked me in the Facebook from the Sadashivam team only, how do you handle all that attention and adulation? I am not. I am not receiving. I am only just turning it into your Atma Bhakti. Everything showered on me, the Bhakti, everything, I just turn that into your Atma Bhakti. Guru Bhakti is recommended only to be returned with multiple times. I should say it is more like a investment, not like giving it away. Always Guru Bhakti turns into Atma Bhakti.
Swamiji, does it mean that an individual only has to focus on deepening the depth or the being so that the length and the breadth component automatically falls into place?
Actually, you just need to, all you need to do is as much as possible, engage yourself in depth creation. Length and breadth automatically happens. People who created length and breadth neither will have length and breadth nor have depth. People who generated depth will have depth and length and breadth.
So Swamiji, when you intervene in our lives, does it mean that you directly work on the depth component?
Does that mean?
So does it mean that you directly work on our depth component when you intervene in our lives?
First thing I should say, I am not end up, I am startup. When I enter into your life, I am not end up, I am startup. That's the first thing. Second thing, see, you should look at the whole thing. The word end up is wrong. Word startup is right. Now this answers your remaining part of the question. Always with startup, the depth increases, everything else follows.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Understand? Guru does not end up in your life, he is startup in your life.
So my understanding is each energy centers 7 times 7 creates 49 depths in each energy layers. And if I'm making a decision from certain depth and it is perceived as a hurt by a logical length, am I obligated to heal it, or can I say abhayam sarva bhudepyo and just walk away?
I should say, depth always deals the length and breadth with compassion. Length and breadth always abuses depth. Depth never gives up length and breadth. It deals length and breadth with tremendous compassion and concern.
So I have to work on them.
Yes.
Yeah. So my question is, once depth is awakened, does ethical behavior awakens automatically, or does it need to be?
I should say, the ethical behavior word, if you define, then I will answer.
Right.
See, I should say, more integrity gets awakened.
So would you agree that then in that case it need not be externally imposed to the extent it is being imposed when depth is not awakened?
I should only answer based on the situation from which you are asking the question. For example, if you are asking from the context of things should happen, we should not be forcing. Like our balasans make the rose plant drop the thorn. They cannot touch it and remove. They can only send the inspiration and that should drop the thorn. But here, I may even take one step to deny non-vegetarian food for you here 21 days. For you to taste vegetarianism. So here, that doesn't work. So only based on the space, this question can be answered.
Right, thank you.
For example, these 21 days, I assume there are certain things which you are not exposed, you will expect me to do R&D and give that best to you. Like understandings, food, preparing your body, in all that. So in that case, you can even perceive that as forcibly he's feeding vegetarian food into our mouth. So in that cases, this logic will not work.
Right. Just on a lighter note, how does the institution of marriage affects your length, breadth, and depth?
Take this seriously, it's not basically human being has a high possibility for growth. If both decide the possibility and decide never to deny, then I will call that as life of Rishi. Both agree maturing of our taste should be the center of the relationship. Then it's an amazing marriage, I tell you. As couple people who are connected with me, they live a real life of heaven. The maturing of the taste, if there is any imbalance, that's it. And I'm not talking even about the devotees whom I'm seeing. Even in the regular life, sometimes a person, when he grows little bit, his communist ideas may evolve into capitalist. When he has no responsibility, he will be communist. When an individual responsibility comes, he will be capitalist. When the whole responsibility comes, he will be really beyond capitalism, a kind of, I should say, I should develop a new name for Sadashiva's economy. So he will move to that. So even in the life, your taste in the field of entertainment, your taste in the field of food, or your taste in the field of thinking, strategies, economy in multiple levels, the maturing of the taste is always nullified if the other partner is not willing to raise. It is like sometimes you will have such high, profound open up. But when you come back, you are expected to be same as you left yesterday. It is mandatory. And for the sake of the other person's consumption, when you try to get back to the older state, you also forget the opening ups happened. Marriage has killed millions of discoveries because you are mandatorily expected to be the same person, and this confirmation that you are a same person and you are still in love denies multiple opening up. And both understanding, we will grow and celebrate each other in every level, will be the real marriage. It all boils down to, let us be open. See, let me very clearly put it. The Saptapati, 7 vows Agama Sadashiva gives in marriage. He beautifully describes sex is the act between two individuals who revere and celebrate each other. That act does not need to be used to confirm that love exists between each other, and that act does not need to be the scale to measure both of us are still in the same plane. Understand, it should be independent of our maturing and maturity of the taste. It should neither be bonding force nor be confirming force, but be sharing act. But so much of insecurity about the confirmation about other person's love, or the our need for the other person's life. You always wanted to confirm your existence is needed in the other person's life. So this insecurity denies possibility of any opening or happening or growth. If this understanding is brought between the two persons, and me shedding more old skin and you shedding more old skins is going to make us more better related, and we both are going to celebrate our togetherness more joyfully, can make marriage the real marriage, like Meenakshi and Sundareshwara. Meenakshi and Sundareshwara. I should say that is what makes Sadashiva and Parvati. So always make sure before marriage, both of you understand the possibility of the opening up. Today your idea about money will be different, tomorrow it will be different. Today your ideas about love will be different, tomorrow it will be different. Today your idea about the entertainment will be different, tomorrow it will be different. So both of us, we will revere, not just respect, revere, reciprocate our maturities, and we will celebrate each other's maturity and respect the need for maturity to be alive. If somebody is listening to the same music for 10 years, the fellow should need to be buried as quickly as possible. No, the maturing of the taste has not happened. And that is what you are expecting from your spouse. Then you are living with a dead body, and that is going to torture you like a ghost. Understand? Maybe that understanding will, the first vow itself, let's grow everything together, share everything together. The second vow, let us do all the cultural, social, spiritual activities together and constantly mature and celebrate our maturity. The Saptapadi vows. Very beautifully, Sadashiva gives that 7 vows.
So would it be right to say that the basis of marriage should be enlightenment, a journey together towards enlightenment?
I should say, not even enlightenment, supporting each other in the growth.
So it's certainly not a legal contract as it is seen in the West. Marriages should not be seen as a contract between two people to coexist and share their life.
In Hinduism, no divorce. Till death, you can't divorce.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
In Hinduism, no divorce. It is cosmic contract.
So it's a sacrosanct.
If you are afraid of legal contract, it is cosmic contract in Hinduism.
Got it.
No divorce.
Thank you so much.
Clear?
Yes.
Do you know Sanskrit does not have the equivalent word for divorce? We don't have divorce. I should say Hindu marriage does not have divorce. It has an important aspect of initiation and training before marriage, which is missing, is causing the whole mess to this country.
Right.
Premarital education which need to be done is missing. That is causing the whole mess. Otherwise, I strongly deny the very possibility of divorce. The very idea of divorce should be destroyed.
Thank you so much.
Thoroughly get educated, try once, if it fails, take sannyas. Now that is as simple as this.
In a better attempt to understand and digest these truths of LBD, the first thing that came to mind was a film by Christopher Nolan, Interstellar. I was wondering if you had watched this film.
Now I watched the movie, but I am not able to attest the whole thing. When I saw the Matrix movie, I can say at least 30% the concepts are true to the original. In the Interstellar movie, I am not able to find more than 2-3%. So I am not able to attest it.
Okay.
Yes.
This unit of space, unit of Jagat is space. Can you explain a little bit more on that?
Listen. Gap between one thought and the other thought is space. Here. Gap between one Big Bang, another black hole is space here. Listen carefully. LBD, active. LBD, active on the space generates time. Anything gets active on the space generates time. Space is the canvas on which all these 4 exist. Listen. Whenever a mass rotates, it creates gravity. Whenever LBD gets active, it generates time. Where all 4 exist is space. Because you have space inside, you are able to perceive everything. Because there is a space in the cosmos, all the generation, maintenance, destruction, delusion, liberation happens. The space here, Chidakasa, perceives everything. Space here, parakasha, allows everything to happen. Little more. Little more. Eyes receive information, digitize it, I should call bio-digitizing. Sense it, it hits at one space and the response comes back. For example, you see the snake, response of let's run away or beat. The spot where this information hits and the response comes back is called space, akasha. The spot which responds to information is space. If the thought, the gap between one thought and the other thought is too little, you do not perceive the existence of space. If there's a more gap, you perceive the existence of space. It's like if you are taking 2000 files, quickly you have to come back. If you are taking only 2 files, you can spend time with him. Ability to spend time with him is called luxury, Lakshmi. I know. At least you are able to get what I am saying.
That part, but that you said the space between the black hole and the Big Bang. But black hole happens in the Big Bang. Am I correct?
That is why I am saying universe happens within the universe. From the nose of Sadashiva, he breathes out universes. In the mouth of Sadashiva, they all merge inside.
The black hole, that is.
It comes out and goes in. Comes out and goes in. That gap is space.
Thank you, Swami.
Listen. Somebody made this. The effort he put to make this decides how long it is going to retain its shape. That effort is space for this. Where this information goes and hits and response comes out, that is the space for this. Where all this goes back and comes out is the space for this. Length of this, breadth of this, depth of this, length of this, breadth of this, depth of this, length of this, breadth of this, depth of this I explained. Now the space of this, energy came out of the space of the individual which is put to keep this in its shape, is the space for this. If more space is spent on this, it can collapse or remodel itself. Am I right? So that is the space for this. And for this whole, the energy with which it is generated by Sadashiva is a space for this. Based on that proportion of the energy, it exists. If there is some more energy which nullifies this, it goes back, which we call Kali Yuga. I'll give more examples. I'm just translating precisely the Hindu cosmology verses.
Swamiji.
Listen. This has length, breadth, depth. When I move this, it generates time. On which I am moving this is space. Now, if there is no movement, this will stay for more time. If there is more movement, the time of it comes down. But even if there is no movement, the time is going to work on it. It's not that it is exempted from time. But if it merges into the space by samadhi, time cannot work on it. The only thing which has a capacity to merge into the samadhi, space, and avoid time working on it is human being, human consciousness. Too profound. So that is why you feel, oh, it is not imminent. No, it is imminent. Next, I will make you understand how it is imminent.
That's why the animals, etc., cannot be.
They need to get into the human body for enlightenment. See, the statements I made are literal formulas. Now apply these statements and go on bringing more questions. Once I make these statements fit with your questions, you will understand they are not just profound, they are imminent. They have immediate effect, they have immediate utility value for your life.
You were describing the unit of Sadashiva as Shakti. Shakti is Devi, it's feminine. Can you?
When I said unit of Sadashiva is Shakti, I did not use it in the language of the Devi which was a form. For her also the unit is Shakti. Understand? Out of clay, the elephant is made, rat is also made. You can't say the rat and elephant is same. You can say both are made of same material. Now you are trying to say both are same, which is not right.
I was saying whether...
Because the perception elephant generates and the perception rat generates is different. They may be made of same material, but the experience they generate in you is different.
Is the material more feminine?
It has no idea of feminine and masculine. I am not going to be attesting feminist ideas, no. Even though I am a Shakta, the Shakti component does not have idea of masculine, feminine, thank God.
Swamiji, something else you were saying of the tool to be...
See, listen. The cricketer who is standing on the ground with bat, he is Sadashiva. The guy who is waiting in the gallery to substitute, if needed, is Avyakta Sadashiva, unmanifest Sadashiva. The power with which he is hitting the ball is Adishakti. Clear?
Thank you.
So surely I cannot say Shakti is feminine.
Thank you. The other question was, you talked about being in depth, to be empty and downloading. So is it like being a conductor where you're not storing? So
I should say, the idea of storing very limited memory is from Google. Your body is not Google. The whole Brahmanda can be stored in Pindanda. Google has a business reasons to give a limited memory. Sadashiva has no business reason to give you a limited memory. Actually, he has all the reasons to give you infinite memory. You do not need to imagine there is a central server. You only live Google and research. I should say the whole cosmic archives is inside you. Just your liver is enough to store the whole cosmic archives. If you are thinking your brain is the archives, you are wrong. Brain is a browsing center. Liver is the archives.
My first question is there a hierarchy in this length, breadth, depth, time and space? Is there a hierarchy? First length comes and then breadth comes.
I should say, not a hierarchy, depth. 10 frequency of length is breadth, 10 frequency of breadth is depth, 10 frequency of the depth is time, 10 frequency of the time is space. Like this, it becomes more and more intense. For example, one thread is a length, 10 thread is breadth, 100 thread is depth, 1,000 thread is time, 10,000 thread is space.
So there is interdependency.
I should say qualitatively but not quantitatively. So, you can make length out of space, but you cannot make space out of length. You can't take space out of length, but you can take length out of space.
And the second question is, where do emotions lie? So we complete the emotions, so we relive and complete it. So where does that happen actually?
That happens more in a breadth and depth.
Okay, so cognitions, it is in depth or breadth?
Cognition means depth.
Okay, and cognition give rise to emotions, right?
No. Then it's a confused breath only, emotion only. Cognition will be always certain, sure.
Okay, so if I carry I am afraid kind of a cognition, so that will trigger fear in breath.
Then it is a depth only.
So in the manifesting powers, is that happening at space towards length?
I should say from space towards, some powers are from space to time, some powers are from space to time to depth, like that.
So if there is a block, if there is a manifestation happening and that is not getting expressed, means at what level is the block?
The more, say, I tell you, most of your blockages are not even worthy of called as blockages. Just unattendedness. You don't take it seriously. It takes 3 months for you to even recognize some place and importance of it. You are still, some of you are not expressing the power. Still you are feeling you are in a cinema theater. I need to tell you, you are in Adinam. That's all is the blockage, nothing else. Still you are thinking you are in a cinema theater having IMAX movie and different hero, that's all. No, that cognition, I should not even call it as a blockage, I should only call it as a slumber. Because none of your blockage is powerful enough to block me. Understand? I always tell people, tell your problems how big your guru is, not your guru how big your problems are.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, Swamiji, can we say that the 3 dimensions we discussed are 3 kinds of causation, First is cause-effect, that's purely mechanical, predictable, formula. Always this produces that. Second is consciousness producing effect on matter, cause-effect. And third is consciousness by itself producing an effect. So all the three
Without even the help or support, independent of length and breadth.
Yes. So the three ways of producing effects.
You are right.
So this is a theory of causation, that there are three kinds of causations. Just
Yes, three kinds of manifestations.
three kinds of manifestations.
When a person starts falling more into depth, then the rules of how one operates on length starts to change, right?
Yes. Actually, length reduces, breadth reduces, so your worrying and constantly soaking you in your worrying disappears. Because no energy left out for worrying. Understand? Otherwise, you worry about everything, and if you don't get anything also, oh, today everything is going well, I think tomorrow it's going to be hell. How many of you have this worry? Today if everything goes well, tomorrow is going to be a bad day. How many of you have that? Raise your hand. Almost it is a universal.
Swamiji, Agora? Just one final thought.
Go ahead.
So then the idea that length is logic and intellect is also partially true, because it then is changing with the person where they are.
Because the person also is losing his logic. Whenever you are not able to handle yourself, the truth is on the depth side, you are on the logic side. It is like you sit on the branch and cut the root of the branch. That is what you do when you are sitting on the logic and trying to manage all the decisions. Decisions of depth, but from the logic.
Yeah, Swamiji, my question related to medicine and disease. So, the diseases... Medicine, the allopathic medicine and diseases. So, the diseases that happen that in length and breadth.
No, it is not always. Actually, all psychosomatic diseases happen from... Actually, they happen in depth and manifest into length and breadth. But we dump medicines on the length and breadth, so depth never gets healed.
How does the depth of treating...
Listen. Psychosomatic disorders, let me talk about that. Starts in depth, manifests in length and breadth. Chemical, which cannot get digested, assimilated into our muscle memory and biomemory, touches only our physical aspect, stops manifestation of symptoms, does not cure the core disease. But herbs has the capacity by its very tendency to dissolve into us completely, become part of even our muscle memory and biomemory. That is why when the herb-based things, without becoming part of the chemical, when it goes inside, it does so much of healing. Actually, chemical-based medicine is only few hundred years old. How can that be called as traditional medicine? It should be herb-based medicine.
True. Does the depth of the patient itself or treating physician, does it affect the effects of...
The treating physician does not directly affect, but your biomemory or the best wishes, your energy can affect independent of the medication you provide.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And the feeling connection of the patient with the doctor makes the depth of placebo effect more.
Okay, got it, Swamiji.
Placebo is more when the patient has a feeling connection.
During Brahma Muhurta, one is able at a specific time, within a certain state of consciousness, one is able to manifest their desires and bring it into matter. Now, can we make our depth, influence our depth in that state of consciousness?
During the Brahma Muhurtam, depth has not yet started becoming length and breadth. So anything added there also becomes length and breadth when the length and breadth starts getting operated.
Okay. And we're able to positively influence that to grow deeper and more in a positive way.
How the neurological experiences can be generated independent of outer circumstances and can be established permanently in us.
First thing, do you understand neurological experiences are generated in your dream independent of outer circumstances?
Yes.
How can that be created, you are asking? See, I'll talk about this example of these alchemy products. If I utter a word cow, immediately that animal picture starts appearing in your brain. Am I right? Yes. So I instigate a neurological experience by my sound. Same way, there is something called Deva Bhasha. Through vibration, I can instigate certain experiences in you.
Irrespective of outside.
That is what is called Deva Bhasha. So those vibrations can be stored in a product. And it can go on instigating that in you constantly, whatever you are doing as your everyday routine. Whether you are lying down or sleeping or anything. That is what I am doing. How many of you already started feeling the effect of that alchemy products when you are sleeping with them? Raise your hand. This is the witness. Just see, that's all.
That the experience can be permanent in us.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Neurological. When the effect is created, it's permanent enough.
Yes.
Now you understand that it's not waste of time and energy. It's all real science. I'm doing something real.
Yeah. Swamiji, when a person is established in his depths, how he perceives the external physical reality of the universe, is it different
Yes,
than what
surely
we perceive?
different from a person. See, person who is in length, all the time feels everyone is enemy. Person who is in the breadth, all the time tries to romance with everyone. Person who is in the depth, all the time sees the reality as it is.
I just wanted to understand, this universe is infinite. Where is it doesn't understand, mind doesn't understand that. When it will understand? In what
No.
way?
Mind can never understand universe. How can one thread understand 10,000 thread sari?
Okay.
Can one thread understand this whole shawl? No. Understand? Your saliva can never understand the whole ocean. So mind can never understand. Actually, if saliva enters into the ocean to understand ocean, it will lose its quality of saliva and become ocean.
Thank you, sir.
And so many things about Sanatan Vedic Hindu Dharma you revealed were so amazing.
And I am going to reveal the Hindu cosmology.
Thank you, Swamiji.
As per Agamas, Hindu cosmology.
Yes, Swamiji. Swamiji, one of the things about wedding...
You also need to know, Hindu cosmology talks even about the plates on the earth which causes the earthquake. I strongly believe if we do little research, we will be able to predict earthquakes as per Agama. I only have to spend little time and do research and establish it to all of you. I commit with you guys in next 2-3 years I will do it. I'll do it. We will be able to, see, just like we are able to predict through our Panchika, lot of things like a cyclone, so many things. This cyclone, Varda, is predicted this year beginning itself in the Panchika, Panchanga. Arcad Panchangam has clearly described the Varda cyclone with the date. But that precise. And I am very sure Agama gives a detailed description of 480, the plates on the surface of the earth which causes earthquakes, with the description of the countries established on those plates.
Wow.
So if we just study and map it, we can do a lot of predictions
Yes, Swami.
of their movements
Yes, Swami.
and the speed with which they are moving and the direction towards which they are moving.
Wow. I think for the Himalayan belt, like that Nepal earthquake, it will be a fantastic. Thanks, Swamiji. Swamiji, about the Panchanga also, the wedding, in India, we spend so much money, time, effort. If we create a small, I request you to create a small course for people who are going to get into wedding, so they understand this Saptapadi.
Not
like
only
me.
course, I'll make it as a set of videos and upload it in the YouTube so that people, wherever they are, they can study it and then get married.
Yes.
I'll do that. Actually, I'm looking at the 7-8 projects before getting pregnant. Learn what you need to know from Sadashiva. Before getting married, know what you need to know from Sadashiva. Before getting into the school, know what you need to know from Sadashiva. Never get into college.
Thank you.
So, I really wanted to make this set of videos.
Yes,
Before doing this,
Yes, Swami.
please learn what you need to learn from Sadashiva.
Yes, Swami.
His inputs.
Yes, Swami.
Gurukul is the greatest gift you can give for your children. I tell you, till the age of 21, other than life, living, anything else you dump on the child is no way useful for the child. Come on, let me have a survey. How many of you really use in your life, day-to-day life, what you learnt before 21 in your school, colleges? Raise your hand. Oh, really? Hardly, maybe 5%. Maybe they have woken up between the question. At least I am not using. Maybe language by mistake. But 90% of it we are not using. Understand, the fundamental definition of education is individualistic and the curriculum is generalized. Why you need to study? The why is all individualistic. What is all generalized? How many of you are understanding this big mismatch? Why you need to study is individualistic. What you are studying is Gurukul basically teaches life. See, that's what actually I'm doing. All I'm trying to do in the Gurukul is layers and layers and layers of bliss memory. Life is good. Be involved with it. If I put it in essence, layers and layers and layers of bliss memory. Life is good, that conviction. Life is good to the biomemory level, depth. And hey, get involved with it. Get involved with it. That's all I am trying to do. After that, that is enough. They will make money, make relationships, make children, make profession, make career, everything they will make. But in the regular school, you steal that and give all the so-called skills. There are tons of researchers, all university gold medalists, become such impractical. Their love life does not last long, more than 2-3 years. Divorces. No, they can't settle down in any one job. They become homeless. There's vast percentage of university gold medalists becoming homeless. How many of you read those research? There are at least 7-8 shocking revelations on researchers. The title of that research itself, that article itself, if you are a university gold medalist, soon you will end up homeless. Because they cannot settle down in a job. That street smartness. See, what is street smartness, you saw? You know, strong belief life is good in your biomemory. Strong belief I'll make it happen in your muscle memory. That is what is street smartness. Schools and colleges steals that away from your child and gives the efficiency. How much ever new revolutionary schools come also, those teachers themselves are not having that as a biomemory or muscle memory. How will they be able to put that into their kids? Understand? Gurukul is the best you can do to your children. Actually, you have two choices. Either don't give birth, be a sannyasi like me. If you give birth, at least make sure they flower like a gods on the planet Earth. They live like a gods on the planet Earth. Purposely, I keep the academic standards of Gurukul low and education standard high. Indian middle class parents always mess up with these two. The academic standard and education standard. Academic standard is repeating the book. Education standard is affirming life positive. Yes.
Swami, regarding the karma, by birth, we are accumulated by karma, and by karma we are facing all the problems. So where does it, so like length, breadth, depth, or time?
The karmas are recorded. See, time is the paint. Space is the canvas.
Okay, sir.
More repeated actions are carved in depth. Less repeated things are carved in breadth. Very less repeated things are put in the length. So now it is up to you whether your depth should be pure depth or your depth should be patterned depth. Whatever you repeat again and again will become part of your depth.
It means the action,
Action, even thought current.
Thought current. Thank you.
So now, if you feel suffocated by karma, you have repeated something 10,000 times. Now, different programming, repeat it 11,000 times.
Okay, so done. Swami, and you showed a stick, right? If it is in samadhi, it is out of time. It means what, Swami?
Space does not get affected by time. because space is subtler than time. But time gets affected by space.
Nithyanandam Swamiji. So I'm wondering about the Western concept of time, which is linear. It's point A, you're alive or you're born, and point B, you're dead. So this concept is in the length and in a very superficial...
Actually, it is not at all a concept. It is a utility understanding. See, dollar is different from wealth. Many places, dollar cannot be useful. What you get through dollar only is useful. Same way, the Western concept of time is as shallow as dollar. It is only some utility calculation value. Otherwise, how will you lose 1 hour, gain 1 hour? What a funny thing. Losing 1 hour, gaining 1 hour. A Hindu Panchanga can never understand this losing 1 hour and gaining 1 hour. Understand? Do you know, for us, even day starts with sunrise.
So this concept of time ties into their concept of life and death, right? Whereas our concept of time is more cyclical, and thus we believe in reincarnation.
No,
Is
what I am
that a
saying,
fundamental difference?
do not even connect the Western concept of time to the ideas I am teaching. Better let me use the word Kala, that's all. Let's not even use the word time. That brings a lot of mess. Kala, over. Kala, Akasha.
My question is quantum entanglement. Does that include depth, time and
No, actually,
space?
no. Shaktini Pata. Quantum entanglement operates from space.
Only from space. And that...
Because the space is entangled, everything else gets entangled.
So that would be the same as the realm of oneness, correct?
Yes, you are right.
And so
See,
that...
actually what I do, I just become one with all of you and tell myself, how you woke up in this body, wake up in all body, that's all.
So it's the entire space of both Saguna and Nirguna, right?
Yes.
So the entirety,
Entire.
oneness. So from that one, the physicist would be able to connect the two, right? So that is the most direct way to
Yes.
connect. And the other
See,
question...
parallel universe is Visishtadvaita. Multiple universe is Dvaita. Oneness and cosmos, the concept of cosmos is Advaita. And pure oneness, infinite number is Shuddhadvaita.
And the Shuddha Advaita is the quantum entangled space.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Shuddhadvaita is the Sadashiva's teachings in Agama. Whatever Sadashiva teaches in Agama, he calls the philosophical part as Shuddhadvaitam, the applying part as Shiva Yoga, and the actions as Kriya.
Swami, I just wanted to ask, how does form and function affect space? And can it affect space negatively or positively?
Tell me, form?
How does form or function and function affect space? And can
Form
it...
and functions? I'm not
How
able
does
to-
the design of something affect space as it interacts through space, either air or space? So is it possible for a design to have a positive or a negative effect on space or on air?
Can you ask precise question? For example,
If a car...
here I have put the mandala.
Out of my league.
No, here I have put the mandala, a special drawing, and I made all of you to sit. It does have a special impact on your inner space.
Right. what I'm saying is, if a aircraft or a car is going through space and time, so as it goes through space, does it create like energetic chaos, or does it create energetic harmony? And is my understanding
See,
right?
I should tell you, the aircraft, the way it is designed, manifested, if it is from the natural flow, I should say it only creates harmony.
So does badly designed content based on badly designed or badly derived science, does that have a negative effect on the evolution of the planet?
Sure.
So an improvement in design then affects the entire planet for positivity?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I should accept it. You are right.
Thank you, sir.
I do see the smoke of petrol carries the pain of dead bodies. Whenever a dead body is burnt who is not enlightened, the smoke carries the pain. I have seen the same many times in the petrol smoke. Because many animals got killed. That only becomes petrol, na? Not all the time. Many times I have seen this.
Actually, you spoke of zero and infinity. And I think that in Hinduism, I feel one of the things that we've not distinguished clearly is the concept of positive infinity. And by this, I don't mean plus or minus infinity. So by this,
Go ahead.
So by this, I don't mean plus or minus infinity. I mean positive infinity. And I think that we've somewhere along the line we lost the idea of positive infinity, which is based on creating harmony, whether it's through art or any other action or design. And I think that is now starting to come back.
See, I'll tell you the Hindu concept of zero and infinity. Zero, if it becomes active, infinity. Zero, if it becomes active, infinity. Shakti, that's all is from what I can grasp from Agama. From Agama I try to find whether we contributed zero and all that. I am not able to find any other references. I only found the addition of the Shakti, activism, makes Shunyatva into Purnatva. Nothing else.
Yes.
How much the Western concept agrees with it, I don't know.
But Swami,
addition of the, see like a zero, becoming active is infinity.
I've experienced this and I've created a sports system around this where basically the body goes from zero into positive infinity, goes through a memory loss, and then with the help of Shakti, it reorganizes itself at the level of intelligence. But if you can't activate Shakti, then intelligence also doesn't tend to move. Takes a lot of effort. So this is something which I wanted to share with you as well. Long story. Thank you. Namaste.
So, space-time was devised about a century ago. It's a mathematical model that bridges space and time together. So I'm a little bit confused on how exactly it works.
Oh, I do not know about the space-time mathematical model you are talking, which is discovered century ago. I am talking about something which is discovered yugas ago. That is why I use the word Akasha and Kala. The space-time cannot be the right equivalent word for that.
Okay, thank you,
Actually,
Swamiji.
space, all of you need to know, space, listen, is a living energy. Just like I. You see, bit of space caught in your body is I. Whole space vibrating is Shakti. Bit of space caught in your body is I. The space vibrating with the whole is Shakti. So all three qualitatively same, quantitative only is different. Go ahead.
Swamiji, I wanted to understand more about how matter comes out of space. So matter comes from space? So is it true that matter comes from space? So when matter comes from space, does it exist separately or is its existence dependent on space?
Rajaji, actually matter does not come out of space.
Okay.
I should say it is rooted and exists in the space only.
Okay.
It is a kind of a, for example, one part of me becomes bone, one part of me becomes flesh, one part of me becomes skin. It just celebrates its existence by becoming so many parts.
This is perfect.
But finally everything is established in the oneness.
Sure. So there's a general relativity theory which says something similar. And Western scholars have not been able to understand it philosophically because it's too bizarre. So I'm just wondering if our theory explains it. What general relativity says is that matter is a property of space. It's like if there's a tornado or a cyclone, the cyclone does not exist separate entity from water. It is only the water spinning. From space, it looks like it's a separate object moving. So you can say cyclone is a property of the water. It is water behaving in a distorted way, and it looks to us like a separate object. So what?
Rajaji,
yeah. So
here
in space,
what Agama says, and I should say even my experience, in the level of matter, water, it does not have independent will. By the time it becomes a cyclone, it develops an independent will.
Yes. So
when it moves more and more towards the will space, for example, if it is a bucket water, it does not have independent will. If it's a rain, we can ask it to come or stop.
Right.
So when it moves closer and closer to space, it develops muscle memory, biomemory, independent existence. The space, for example, how the information through our eyes reaches and hits at a space in us and comes back with a response. That space is what I call Akasha. That Akasha gets developed when something gets closer to the Akasha, even if it is a matter.
Okay.
So that component is not explained in the West, but Agama again and again repeats, a stone is a matter, but huge Himalayas develops an independent will.
So
fire, same way, a forest fire develops an independent will. It can go up, down, right, left, like this. It can decide.
So they're saying that physics, general relativity says...
For example, say, ant does not have everything human beings have. But when it grows towards human being, it develops everything.
Right.
Same way, a stone. As a stone, it is matter. But when it becomes a huge hill, it develops an independent will.
Right.
Himalayas has independent will. Ganga has independent will.
Good.
So it is no more just a collection of large millions of liters of water. It develops an independent existence.
Because of size.
Size. Not only size, getting closer to the space.
Very good. Thank you.
See, that only explains why we worship hills, why we worship rivers, why we attribute divinity to the nature. Sadashiva gives at least 3 examples in various places. Due to the larger existence, the space it occupies, the ups and downs it goes through, due to all this, the kind of a muscle memory and biomemory itself starts getting built in the system. He says very clearly that Ganga built a muscle memory for herself to be self-purified. So, there are certain natural objects which we consider as matter. When it goes to larger scale, develops independent will, you can relate to that will and play with that will. They can listen to you, respond to you. As a Sakshi Pramana, I will establish this. Because some way we will have to establish this. This is very important even to save the nature and ecology. See, Earth is not large mass. By the time it becomes this large mass, it becomes a will of Bhuma Devi, an independent intelligence called Bhuma Devi.
JJ, in the Avatar Shastra it is written that that you are awakened in all the 11 dimensions. So sometimes in those portals or whatever, that time when we see JJ in it, are we seeing you?
Yes, me only. I should say, now you are seeing me in the first floor. If I have to appear in that 11th floor, I get into the lift, which is my Advaita space. Doing pratyahara from this body and mind. Go to the 11th floor, come out of that lift. By the time, my color and some of the qualities will not be same. But some will remain same just to tell you it is me. Only the ID card level qualities will be retained. Others will not be there, same.
So JJ, my question is, when we have such an experience of seeing you like that, does it mean like only, even though like right now I only remember me here, but for all of us we are with you
if you
in
have
all
seen
those?
there, you are experiencing me there also. Actually, especially this teleportation and all happens only if you experience me in multiple planes.
But does that mean all of us are there also, but we don't remember it, we're not aware?
All of you are there also and you don't remember. It's unused apps. How in your iPhone? See, somebody gets an iPhone 6 and knows only how to press the number and make call, nothing more than that. That is exactly the way you are using you.
Is what the kind of profession that you do, does that by nature may ground you more into, let's say, the depth compared to length? So if somebody is a doctor or somebody is a teacher, will that ground them more into the depth, or is it based on the context?
I should see, it is more a context and cognition. There are many teachers who don't know ABCD of what they are teaching. There are many students who know much more than what their teachers are teaching. There are many students, they know more than their teachers. There are many teachers who don't know anything. So I should say it's more a depth and cognition of an individual.
So specifically about this, so when
and one more thing, whenever you do some grunt job, repeating every day, you disconnect yourself from it. You just go and put your body, and your body does everything, and even after coming back, you will not know what you have done. Like a driving. Understand? So only if you are enjoying teaching, that makes the depth of you to grow.
So Swamiji, for example, I'm teaching engineering subject. When I read the Western authors, modern science or modern engineering, feel certain kind of irritation inside me. I feel like the mental setup from which they have expressed the whole thing, when I read it, I start feeling some kind of uncomfort. And only my head part activates.
It is possible.
So, when it comes to engineering sciences, is the, definitely we are making cars and all those things which are useful to the outer world or utilities. So if this is not in yoga, going through the modern science, then should this be changed, or we should completely rely on the Vedic system and then expand it?
No, I am not saying you should throw away the cars and all that. I am only saying the context with which they expressed and the context with which we can use can be changed. I am not against modernization. I am only against the westernization. I am not against modernization. See the modern equipments I am using left and right.
Yes.
You won't find a modern guru than me, see?
Yes.
On any modern gadgets, I get at least a dozen gift. Latest release, Apple Watch, I have 3. Everything I have. And I am using it, not I am just keeping it. I am using it. I am not against the modernization. I am only saying that much more contextual setting from the agamic tradition can be done. Even their engineering, if you study more, from the context of East, you will have a lot of things to contribute. You can add a lot of things. For example, if you look at everything as a living thing, river, everything, dams, all that can be built in a non-violent way which will not create earthquake or ecological damage. That is one side. Even the houses. The house space is a living space. Your body circuit, your physical circuit should be in tune with the house's circuit. That's all. Vastu is all about that only.
Swamiji, I want to be in a feeling relationship with you, but you seem to feel me completely. And how do you feel? How can I understand how you feel? Please explain, how does it feel to be you?
See, I should say, how much I feel I am alive in this body. I feel same amount I am alive in that body. Only difference between this and that, the ambitions and the future plans and desire to exist is for a different reason in this system, different reason in that system. That's all. So, I do have enough of compassion for that system to slowly learn and realign itself to the highest ambition. That's the way I look at the whole thing. Clear?
So that means that I do not have to do anything. It's you feeling me makes me feel you.
I should say, if you don't deny, that's more than enough. I'll do the job.
Thank you.
Actually, this feeling connection is a job beyond your logic. Job beyond your logic. People ask me, should I accept you as guru? I tell them, hey, just try to forget me as much as you can. If you can't forget me, I am your guru. If you can forget me and do your job. Carry on.
My question is almost in relation to that, how you just said that different ambitions, but as you're going from length, which would be the I, the identity, into the higher consciousness, and that starts dropping, the identity starts dropping, then where does free will and will come in and
Actually,
prove this?
the identity is a restricted will, ma. When patterns and restrictions drop, you experience pure will. Pure will is Sadashiva's will. Mama sangalpam Shiva sangalpam astu. Let my will be Shiva's will.
So then we all have the same will?
See, actually, you are, if, for example, if you understand that this hall is the best, you will try to rebuild this. If you see the same hall from outside, you will understand it is not RCC, cement, or permanent. And you will get an idea of some permanent structure. Then you will plan to build that. If you see from inside all this makeup, you may think this is the best I should have. But if you see from outside, your ambition and goal will change. With the expanded perception, restricted will starts losing its restrictions. Will withers away. When the will withers away, you develop a new will persistence. It's like only you will have power over you, not anything else.
A comment you said
That comes by expanded understanding. For example, now, whatever you think as your goal, if I feed you with more powers, Shaktis, and you start manifesting, that goal will certainly becomes 100 times more. Because now you know, with more, you can do more. The goal, reaching its completion, is what I call Jivan Mukti, living enlightenment. Now, with your identity, what do you understand as you? You plan for your future. If your idea about the identity expands, your idea about future expands. Your ambition about future expands. If the idea about you reaches its peak, your future plan and ambition and desire reaches its peak. Your ambition is your existence. Your ambition is your possibility. Life becomes juicy only by ambition, not by hitting at the past or the restrictions of past. All restrictions, suffocations are rooted in the past. All possibility is rooted in the future. The future is you. And that expands when idea about you expands. It is like a feeding you with power, makes you lion. Like if the flesh is fed to the cub, how the cub becomes lion? If the powers are fed to you, you just become lion. So then your idea, the way you cognize, everything changes.
I see. Something that kept me thinking the other day was when you mentioned when you used to walk for miles, and you said you reached a point where your body was just walking. So what was pushing you?
In that, the time stopped working on my body, just the space was, my body has reached the space where the individual will has withered away and the space has taken over the body. It was just moving. Yes.
Hi, Swamiji. So I have a couple of questions. The Ananda Ganda and the Anya chakra, like what correlation does it have with each other? The Ananda Ganda?
Ananda Ganda, Anya. Correlation. Anya can be easily awakened, but Ananda Ganda is the place where you reside. Anya is like your door. Ananda Ganda is your bedroom.
So with powers only expressed through the third eye only and not the Ananda
You
Ganda?
see, Ananda Ganda is the source of the whole. So Anya is the place where the powers manifest.
Okay, so with both, we can be in.
Actually, Anandagandha cannot be equated to Anya. Anya, all the seven merges into Anandagandha. Anandagandha is not here. It's a door to Anandagandha. Anandagandha is the space where everything merges. This whole balloon merges into that. I've spoken elaborately on Anandagandha. We have even a healer's book.
Yes.
With a balloon, I'll explain. With a balloon, all the seven chakras will be on the balloon. If the balloon bursts where it merges, that is Anandagandha.
So wouldn't that like be the ultimate?
Anandagandha is ultimate.
So okay, another question. So would both? Would we be able to reach Nirvikas?
There's no both. Anandagandha is of a different level. Anandagandha is not even a chakra. It's a space. Yes. Go ahead.
Hi, Swamiji. I want to know, you were talking about Vishwamitra and how he used, how he used the depth. How he used the depth to create another loka. So how did he do it? How did he physically do it? Did he just think of it and it appeared?
No. Space is a material which you can use and do. It's a wax. So he knows how to do that, use that wax. That's all.
மண்ணே மாமலையே மணியே மாணிக்கமே மரகதமே வைரமே பொன்னே புகழ் சேர் பொன்மலையே சோதி வடிவான ரூபனே என் குருநாதா என் குருநாதா என் குருநாதா அஞ்ஞானக் கடல் நீங்கி கணக்கு ஆத்ம ஞானம் அளிப்பாய் குருநாதா நித்யானந்தா ஆத்ம ஞானம் அளிப்பாய் நித்யா கொண்டு கங்கை முடிக்கொண்டு நர்த்தனம் புரியும் ஈசனே சுடலை பொடி பூசி புடுக்கை தனை ஏந்தும் காலனே புலிதோலனே வீடு விழியால் உள்ள முறைகின்ற மதுரை மாநகரின் ராசனே இன்னல்களை கலைந்து இன்பங்களை அளிக்கும் சுந்தர வடமணி நேசனே ஞாயிறு திங்கள் நித்த முறைகின்ற செவ்விழி கொண்ட செல்வனே சொற்கனே எந்த சோமனே ஐயா சோதி வடிவான ரூபனே அடிமுடி காணா மலையே அகிலம் போற்றிடும் ஐயனே நாகாபரணனே நால்வர் போற்றிட நயமுடனாடிடும் நாதனே ஆழகாலம் உண்டு ஆழம் காடுதனில் ஆனந்த நடமிடும் ஆதி செய்வனே மங்கையிடம் கொண்டு கங்கை முடி கொண்டு நர்த்தனம் புரியும் ஈசனே சுடலை முடி பூசி உடுகை தனையேது காலனே புலிதோலனே மீனின் விழிகால் உள்ள முறைகின்ற மதுரை மாநகரின் ராசனே இன்னல்களை கலைந்து இன்பங்களை அளிக்கும் சுந்தர வடமணி நேசனே அப்பாய் காட்சி தரும் எங்கள் ஆணை காவலசே ஆதிகந்தமிழாத ஜோதியாய் அருணகிரி உரை நாதனே உலகை இயக்கிடும் வாயுபடி வடிவே காலகத்தி ஈசனே தொழுதிடத்தில்லை நகர்தனில் வானில் ஆடும் கூத்தனே பஞ்சபூதம் நித்தம் பணியும் பரமனே பரமேசனே நித்யரசித நித்ய வைபவ குப்த கைலை வாசனே ஈசனே சர்வேசனே பரமேசனே ஜெகதீசனே நித்யனே ஆனந்தனே என் ஜீவனே குருதேவனே
विश्व की शान तो भक्तों के प्राण तो 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 जय बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्यानंदा जय बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्यानंदा जय बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्यानंदा जय बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्यानंदा नाशक ये दुखों के सारे जय बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्यानंदा विनाशक ये दुखों के सारे जय बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्यानंदा ये है न्यारे हमारे जय बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्यानंदा भगवान ये है न्यारे हमारे जय बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्यानंदा
शक्यशाकिने नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे कामे कामाय मह्यं कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणो ददातु कुबेराय वै श्रवणाय महाराजाय नमः
சனடி போற்றி சிவன் சேவடி போற்றி நேயத்தே நின்றடி மலனடி போற்றி ஆயப்பிறப்பருக்கும் மன்னனடி போற்றி சீரார் பெரும் துறையிடம் தேவனடி போற்றி ஆராத இன்பம் அருளும் மலை போற்றி ஈசனே சிந்தை கவனம் நேசனே நீ வருவாய் பூவோடு கனிகளை கொண்டு உன்னை பூஜித்தோ அருள் தருவாய் கலி என்னும் கடலினில் மூழ்கிட்டையும் இனி கரம் தந்து காத்திருந்து கருணை பொய்கையில் அலர்ந்திட்ட அலவத்மம் போல உன் திருவடியில் வாழ்ந்திட நித்தரின் வாராய் அருணாச்சலனே நீ வாராய் அகண்ட ஜோதியனே வாராய் அல்லல் நீக்கிடவே வாராய் அகிலம் போற்றுகின்ற ஈசனே சிந்தை கவர்ந்த நேசனே நீ வருவாய் ஒடு கனிகளை கொண்டு பூஜித்தோ அருள் தருவாய் மெய்யினில் வில்வமும் நிறையா கடல் நீர் குடியோடு தரிசனம் அருளவா செம்பொன் மாழ சிற்றவை தனிலே சிந்தை கவர்ந்த உன்னை சிக்கன பிடித்தேனே வந்தும் புகழ் பெறும் நான் வரை நாயகா மதியில் நிறைந்திடுவாய் மதி உணராதவர்க்கு மதி உணர் செய்திட வான்மழு நீ ஏந்திவாய் அறவாடிட சூழ்ந்திட புலித்தோலோடு நீ வருவாய் विमुक्ति कारणे नादिकेश दिव्य ब्रह्मरूपने मीनाक्षि शक्ति सहित सुन्दरेशने अण्णामलै उदित नित्यनन्दने चित्त अचित्तெல்லாம் முன்னாலே இயக்கும் முன்னாலே உந்தன் கண்ணாலே சிகையில் அணிந்திட்ட மதியாலே மதிலின் ஒளியாலே தெளிந்திடும் வழியாலே ஜீவன் முக்தி பெற விழைந்தோமே திருவடியை தொழுதோமே வெள்ளியாகினாய் கேள்வியாகினாய் கேள்வி காண பதிலுமாகினாய் ஒளியாகினாய் உலகமாகினாய் அதுமாகி அருள்படி தரும் கர்ம விதைகள் தீர்க்கும் காசிநாதனே எங்கள் கர்மம் போக்கி எம்மையாலும் நேசனே ஏகாந்தமாக ஏக பாதம் தூக்கியே மதியாரை